And a shout out to our friends at the Manhattan and Brooklyn Free Schools in our studios today. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Thousands of people demonstrated in Madrid Saturday against Morocco's recent crackdown in Western Sahara. Moroccan security forces last week raided a camp where some 20,000 Sahrawis had been staging a massive protest against the Moroccan occupation. The Moroccan forces used water cannons, tear gas, batons, fired rubber bullets to break up the protest camp. Dozens of protesters were wounded. The raid ended what had been described as the biggest protest in Western Sahara since Spain withdrew from the territory 35 years ago. Morocco's announced it will try in a military court over 100 Sahrawi activists who participated in the organization of the camp. On Saturday, thousands took to the streets of Madrid, Spain, to protest the crackdown. Among those demonstrating were European lawmakers, civil rights and trade union leaders, as well as Academy Award-winning Spanish actor Javier Bardem.
I'm here today just to show my support to the Sahrawi people and to condemn the violence by the Moroccan government, dictatorship, I would say. And we have to fight for the independence of the Sahrawi people, because the land is theirs and now it's totally occupied by Morocco with the support of the United Nations, United States, France, Spain, and a lot of other countries.
I am here to demonstrate against the injustices taking place in my country. It's very sad to see that those who govern us support the tyrants and the terrorists.
I am Willy Meyer. I am a European parliamentarian for the United Left Party of Spain, and I represent the Communist Party on an international level. I am here to show my solidarity towards the Sahrawi people.
My name is Willy Toledo, and I am an actor, Spanish actor, and I'm here for the demonstration to protest against the situation over there and the things that the governments all over the world are doing, which is nothing.
I'm Mbarka Bashir. I'm from the Western Sahara, and I'm here to demonstrate against the injustice and to support independence for the people of the Western Sahara. We're here to ask the Spanish government and the United States to help us end the injustices that Morocco is committing to our people. They're committing terrible injustices. They're mistreating the Sahrawi people.
Some of the thousands of people in Saturday's protest in Madrid, Spain. Special thanks to former Democracy Now! Producer Maria Carrion for that film. Well, for more, we're going to go right to the Western Sahara to speak with Peter Bouckaert, Human Rights Watch's Emergencies Director. He's joining us on the phone from Laayoune. Welcome to Democracy Now! Can you explain the latest, but also recognizing that most people in the United States and in many places in the world don't even know this conflict exists? So put it in context.
Yes, for the last few months there has been a protest camp outside the city of Laayoune where thousands of people from the Western Sahara, which was annexed by Morocco in the 1970s, protested the living conditions they are facing, the high unemployment and the social conditions. And last Monday, the Moroccan authorities, the security forces, went into the camp and effectively shut down the camp, and the very violent clashes erupted in the camp and also in the neighboring city of Laayoune, which is the administrative capital of the Western Sahara.
There are very few journalists there. How are you able to operate inside as a human rights director?
Well, I was turned back twice from the airport myself while trying to make our way down to Laayoune. And I think it's very sad that the Moroccan authorities are continuing to prevent many journalists from reaching this because it has led to a lack of information about what is actually happening on the ground and has led to the anger of the international community rather than getting the truth out there about what is actually happening on the ground.
What are people calling for in Western Sahara, Peter Bouckaert?
Well, there's obviously a variety of voices out there. Many people in the Western Sahara feel that their country is occupied by the Moroccans. They want, some people want independence, some people want greater autonomy. But this protest was much more about the social conditions that people are facing on the ground, the very high levels of unemployment that exist, and the general climate of repression that many people feel. And since the crackdown on the protest camp, there has been a wave of arrests and very serious abuses in detention.
What are those abuses, Peter Bouckaert?
Well, we have been interviewing people who've been released from detention, men and women, and they have been very severely beaten in detention. Some of the men have been threatened with rape, and they have shown us the bruises that they got from those brutal beatings. They're being asked to confess to being involved in the violence and in the killing of security forces, as well as to the involvement of Algerian security forces and other outside elements. Obviously, these are forms of torture, and they will result in very unreliable confessions. So we're calling on the Moroccan authorities to end these abuses in custody and to treat these detainees with respect and to ensure that they have fair trials.
When people there hear about the mass protests in places like Madrid, the thousands of people who marched this weekend, what effect does it have?
Well, I watched these news reports at the house of a family of the Western Sahara. Obviously, they're very encouraged that there is this international support, but I think it is important that the international support is based on an accurate view of the information. It's still very unclear how high the death toll was among civilians, and there certainly are some claims out there which exaggerate the number of civilians who are killed. But our main concern right now is about the abuses that people are facing in detention and also the access to Western Sahara. Journalists and international investigators should be granted access to Laayoune so they can come and establish the truth and report from the ground. And so pressure can build to end this repression which is taking place in these arrests and abuses in detention.
This is also the first anniversary of the Sahrawi human rights activist Aminatu Haider holding a hunger fast in the Canary Islands airport, where she stayed for 32 years, languishing in the airport when Morocco refused to let her enter Laayoune. She's back getting medical treatment, and the next few days she's going to attempt to fly back to where you are in Laayoune, the city taken over by police and the military, where no international journalists, very few observers are allowed access. She fears she'll either be denied entrance or arrested when she returns. Peter Bouckaert, what do you expect?
Well, when I was at the airport, I was myself turned around twice. The Moroccan authorities claimed that there was a technical problem with my ticket, but it was very clear that intelligence agents at the airport had ordered the airline not to allow me to board. I saw many Spanish and Moroccan journalists being turned around as well. So there certainly is a denial of access, and I fear that she will also be turned around or at least have some difficulty before she's allowed to return to Laayoune.
And the trials, what do you expect of these trials? The Morocco announcing it'll try in a military court over 100 Sahrawi activists.
Well, the information we have is that over 100 activists have now been charged in civilian court, and at least 6 activists, major leaders, have been transferred to a military court in Rabat. Because of the use of torture and other abuses during detention, we're very concerned about the fairness of these trials. We've met with the lawyers of these detained activists, and they have been unable to meet with their clients, and the families also have not been able to meet with their detained relatives. So we are seeking meetings with the authorities to try to push for greater access to these people in detention and also for fair trials and an end to the abuses that they are facing, which are very severe.
Peter Bouckaert, I want to thank you for being with us. Human Rights Watch's Emergencies Director, speaking to us from Laayoune in Western Sahara. We're also joined by Stephen Zunes, Professor of Politics and International Studies and Chair of Middle Eastern Studies at the University of San Francisco, co-author of a new book called Western Sahara, War, Nationalism, and Conflict Irresolution. Professor Zunes, thank you for being with us. Start off by putting this all in a context. Again, as I asked Peter Bouckaert, most people don't even know this is taking place, that there is this conflict and occupation.
Well, we're looking at a situation that bears striking parallels to East Timor, on the verge of decolonization from a minor